Okay, so this is embrace-autism.com. This website is run by Dr. Natalie Engelbrecht, as you'll see there. She is a clinical psychologist who's also diagnosed autistic and was diagnosed later in life. One of the nice things I like about this website, especially if you go through on their menu, there are different autism tests that you can take. So for this one, we're going to be going over the psychometric tests for the Autism Spectrum Quotient. So you're going to end up with 50 statements. Let's click on that. So this one's written by Dr. Natalie Engelbrecht. So it goes over who the test is designed for, versions and translations, taking the test, scoring mean scores, validity, stuff that's outdated, updated, discussion, your AQ, what do your score mean, recommended next steps. So it's 50 statements, takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Actually, the test itself was written by Simon Baron Cohen, if that name sounds somewhat familiar. Some of you may know him, or may recognize the last name of Baron Cohen being attached to Sacha Baron Cohen, who you may know as the creator of Borat, among some other characters. Dr. Cohen's also a psychologist who's been doing a lot of stuff for as far as like autism. So take the test here. Let's click that and go to the top. So, Autism Spectrum Quotient. For each statement below, choose one response that best describes how strongly that statement applies to you. So, I prefer to do things with others rather than on my own. Definitely disagree on that. I'm not necessarily the most social person that you're going to be finding, so I'm definitely going to disagree with that. Prefer to do things the same way over and over again. Unless somebody can show me a way to do it differently, if it actually works, then I will definitely agree on that. If I try to imagine something, I find it very easy to create a picture in my mind. This I will agree, but I have to be in the right headspace for that. Frequently get so strongly absorbed in one thing that I lose sight of other things. Definitely agree. I often notice small sounds when others do not. Yes, definitely. I've complained to friends and family members that there's certain records that I can't listen to, or I will notice certain artifacts in the records. For instance, like, I cannot listen to the song Since I've Been Loving You by Led Zeppelin, off of the Led Zeppelin 3 album. Because the problem is with that song, whoever it was that was the tech for John Bonham didn't lubricate his bass drum pedal, and so I can hear the damn thing squeaking all across the track. The album from the band Heaven and Hell, which was recorded live at Radio City Music Hall. I can hear Ronnie Dio's voice coming back in through the monitors that are on stage. And there's also, for instance, I noticed that there's an edit either to the master tape or to the original 24-track master that they were using for Slayer's Rain and Blood. I can hear an edit in the recording. Stuff like that. So, next question. I usually notice car number plates or similar strings of information. That I will agree with. It certainly helped me in my day as working as a tow truck driver. Using the California Highway Patrol's radio system. So I have to report reckless drivers. Other people frequently tell me that what I've said is impolite, even though I think it is polite. Definitely agree. I've been called into the management's office because of that. Apparently people don't like it when you're direct and forward. When I'm reading a story, I can easily imagine what the characters might look like. I can, but the author has to be good in their description. I am fascinated by dates. Not necessarily of stuff like that. In social group, I can easily keep track of several different people's conversations. Definitely disagree. If there's multiple conversations going on, it causes anxiety. I will more than likely flee a room rather than try to stay to hear stuff. But even when I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody and there's way too much stuff going on as far as like people conversing and different conversations going on, I have a very hard time trying to filter those other people out. I find social situations easy. No, I don't. Having to deal with people I don't necessarily know, I will basically bail out of there. Tend to notice details others do not. Definitely agree. One of previous management ones definitely noticed that I was rather detail oriented. I'd rather go to a library than a party. Definitely agree, because that one's a controlled environment. I find making up stories easy. Not really. As far as like creating fiction, it's not necessarily my strong suit, so I'm going to disagree with that. Hello, Lizzie. If you hear a meowing going on, that's our little kitty. So I'll put it in the picture right here. Hello, littles. Find myself drawn more strongly to people than to things. Disagree. I would much rather deal with things rather than people, just because I can't control people. Tend to have very strong interests, which I get upset about if I can't pursue. Definitely agree on that. Right now, I am currently taking a break from my karate classes, but that was basically just to get my my left foot to heal. I don't necessarily know if it's a damaged tendon, or if it's a broken bone, or if there might be bone spurs, like my doctor thinks, or from what my sister said, it may even possibly be a nerve type dysfunction or something like that. I enjoy social chit chat. No, I don't. Like I said, social situations I don't do well. When I talk, it isn't always easy for others to get a word in edgewise. Depends what the topic is. So that's a yes. I am fascinated by numbers. Numbers by themselves, not necessarily. Although I do like lists, but unless there's something like an irrational number like pi, or the number I or E, then I will slightly agree with that. When I'm reading a story, I find it difficult to work out the characters' intentions. That I'll agree with, unless the author is really good at describing what it is that the person's going to be doing. I don't particularly enjoy reading fiction. Again, that comes down to the author. Let's see. I find it hard to make new friends. I can if I put myself out there. But I don't necessarily go out of my way to make new friends. Notice patterns and things all the time. Definitely agree on that. I've got, like I said in the previous video, I often get co-workers turning to me and looking at to look at the Excel spreadsheets to see what it is that employees are doing, stuff like that. I'd rather go to the theater than a museum. This I will definitely agree with, even though it doesn't really make much sense, because being in a theater situation or a concert situation, I'm constantly surrounded by people that I don't necessarily know, and their conversations like during intermissions and before the show actually begins can get a little bit distressing. Museums, I would have to have my earbuds or my earplugs with me at all times, because people are going to be talking. That's not necessarily a controlled environment. But with a theater, you're going to get a break from basically from the people that are surrounding you. Let's see. Does not upset me if my daily routine is disturbed. Disagree. I mean, I can adapt, but I prefer to keep my routines because they're routines. I frequently find that I don't know how to keep a conversation going. Definitely agree. Go into trying to keep conversations going back when I was still dating, but yeah, that didn't always work so well. Find it easy to read between the lines when someone is talking to me. Definitely not. Just get to the fucking point. That's all I'm going to tell you right there. Usually concentrate more on the whole picture rather than the small details. Definitely disagree. I'm very detail-oriented, and a lot of times, as the old expression goes, I can't see the forest for the trees. I will be counting each of the individual trees. I'm not very good at remembering phone numbers. Actually, this applies to a lot of people, especially in the job field that I'm in, where I take a lot of calls. When you ask somebody for their phone number, they're like, I don't know. Well, you probably remember your own phone number and possibly the like some of the people in your immediate family. So, I mean, if it's a number that I have to remember, then I will remember it. But that I'm going to disagree with. I don't usually notice small changes in a situation or a person's appearance. Not necessarily. I have a tendency to start looking at different details on a person, and then I will notice some things may have changed. I know how to tell if someone listening to me is getting bored. This used to be disagree, but this one I'm going to agree, or slightly agree on that, because I'm 53 years old. I can pretty much tell nowadays if I'm going on and somebody's getting bored. Kind of learned that one. Find it easy to do more than one thing at once. Depends what it is. I have to take an interest in both of those things, or all of those things, to be able to do them all at once, depending on what it is. I mean, I can sing and play bass, so that's two separate things right there. But some of the other stuff that goes on, if something that I don't have interested in, then no, I don't. When I talk on the phone, I'm not sure when it's my turn to speak. Yes and no. I mean, usually because the person ends the statement, I can usually figure out where it is. And my job feels sometimes you do have to interrupt somebody in order to take control over a call. So I'm going to slightly disagree on that. I enjoy doing things spontaneously. Not necessarily. I'm going to disagree with this. It would have to be something that I'm interested in to start doing it. I'm often the last to understand the point of a joke. I'll disagree with that. I do understand humor, so I'm going to disagree with that. So if there's an actual point, I don't really care. But anyway, I find it easy to work out what someone is thinking or feeling just by looking at their face. Definitely disagree. Unless it's like an obvious emotion or something like that, and then no, that's not going to happen. There's an interruption, I can switch back to what I was doing very quickly. Disagree on that. It's basically my train of thought gets derailed. Just forget it. It takes a while to get back on there. I'm good at social chit-chat. Bull. Definitely disagree. Small talk, I just find absolutely hellish. Talking to people in general was just like, bleh. People often tell me that I keep going on and on about the same thing. I'm sure that they would, but they're probably just being polite, and they're not necessarily going to say that I'm going on and on. So if they are telling me, they don't tell me to my face. When I was young, I used to enjoy playing games involving pretending with other children. Definitely disagree. I didn't like other kids when I was growing up. I couldn't wait to be an adult. I like to collect information about categories of things. This I will agree, but it also has to be a topic I love, that I'm passionate about. I find it difficult to imagine what it would be like to be someone else. I can somewhat agree. Depends how well I know that person. I like to plan any activities I participate in carefully. I will agree to that, although I do understand that there are some things which I do have to relinquish some control over. I enjoy social situations. No. I'd rather be at home by myself or with the cats. Let's see. I find it difficult to work out people's intentions. This will agree. Slightly agree. Definitely agree. Excuse me. Nah, I'll just go with agree. New situations make me anxious. This is definitely true. Or they can. It depends on how controlled things are. I enjoy meeting new people. I'll agree to that. I mean, I don't necessarily dislike people, but I may or may not necessarily connect with them. I'm a good diplomat. If it's things that don't involve me, I can be. I have been like kind of the go-between between the like couples with the disagreements. So, however, the way in which I handle something may not necessarily get the response that they're looking for. I'm not very good at remembering people's date of birth. Disagree with that. But then again, it also has to be somebody that I'm interested in too. I find it very easy to play games with children that involve pretending. No. No. Like making up stories. No, I'm not going to do that. And again, I didn't like children when I was a child. So let's see what my score is. Total 40. So what does my score mean? So AQ doesn't really offer much insight into specific autistic traits, as it only outputs a single score. Any scores of 26 or greater indicate the presence of autistic traits. The higher the score, the more autistic traits you have. Furthermore, 79.3% of autistic people score 32 or higher, whereas only 2% of controls do. So scores of 32 and above are particularly significant. The AQ is particularly sensitive in distinguishing between autistic and non-autistic adult females, as 92.3% of autistic females scored 32 or higher compared to 1% of the control group. Do note that no single test is conclusive, and not every autistic person necessarily scores above the defined threshold on each test. If you score low on the AQ but still think you could be autistic, try taking a few other autism tests. So this also recommends some of the other tests that you can be taking too. The next video is going to be the RADS-R, which is the RITFO Autism Asperger's Diagnostic Scale Revised Test. So if you want, you can click that one. That'll be coming up. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing what it is that I scored here on this test. So go with that number for now. Of course, I've also scored higher on it too. So if you think you may be autistic, or you think you know somebody that might be autistic, if they seem like they need some direction on where it is that they can go, like I said, embraceautism.com is a really good source for this type of information. Dr. Engelbrecht's got a lot of, and the associates that she works with have a lot of really good information and articles on the website, so I do highly recommend it. So hope you enjoyed this video. So if you like it, good. If you don't, well, that's cool too. So hopefully you did enjoy it. So take care. Bye.